In this video, I'm going to show you how to access your gradebook that is contained within PowerSchool, and then how to weight different categories of assignments so that, for example, tests can count for more in a student's final grade than, say, in-class work. So the first thing that you need to do is to be logged into PowerTeacher, which I am here. And then I'm going to click on the gradebook over here on the left-hand side on this menu. What's going to happen is once I get that open, there'll be a blue button down here. I'm not sure why mine is not blue right now, but I'm going to click on this Launch PowerTeacher Gradebook. And what will happen is a download will begin in order to be able to open the gradebook. This happens every single time, no matter how many times you open your PowerTeacher Gradebook on the computer. If you're opening it every day, it still has to do the Java download every single time. You'll notice some things happen down here in the dock. For example, I now have an icon called PowerTeacher Gradebook. And when I get this screen, and that's a good sign, I always want to allow that or trust, whichever one comes up. In this case, I'm using Chrome as a browser, but for Safari, I believe the window will say, don't trust or trust. You always want to trust the certificate. So when I do that, PowerTeacher will now begin to open. And the default screen for PowerTeacher is the score sheet view, gradebook, if you were to do it with paper and pencil. So I'm working with an old class so that I can show you how to do this. You always want to make sure that up here on the left-hand side, you have the appropriate quarter chosen, or semester, whichever way you grade. At the high school, they grade on the quarter and also on the semester. The grade schools, you'll probably want to make sure that it's on the appropriate quarter. Now, to weight grades, we're going to go to Grade Setup. When I go to Grade Setup, I get a window that shows me the different reporting terms. Notice how I have Semester 1 and I have Quarter 1 and Quarter 2. Now, you'll notice that when I click on this arrow next to, let's do Quarter 1 in this case. If I click on the little gray arrow, a window opens up down at the bottom. Notice how this is the way that you calculate the Quarter 1 final grade. Now, if you want everything that you put into your gradebook to have the same amount of weight, that means assignments, tests, projects, you just add up all the scores and come up with the final grade, you will want to just keep this as it is. For those of you who teach middle school and high school, you would probably want to have different types of weights for different types of assignments or categories. So what you're going to want to do is click on the little radio button in front of category weights. What that does is opens a separate little window here that then allows me to come up with my categories. Now, I believe that these are the defaults: final grade, homework, project, quiz, and test. But let's say you want to change those categories. You don't want the same categories. The way to do that is to go up to the Tools menu at the top of the toolbar, up at the PowerTeacher Gradebook toolbar, Tools and Categories. This lists all of the categories that are preloaded into PowerTeacher. Notice how you have a plus and a minus sign down at the bottom. So I can change the name of the homework category by simply clicking on it, going over here and saying, I could call this independent work. And I can give it a different abbreviation. I can call it IW. I can change the color of the category, which means on my score sheet at the top, when I name the assignment, it'll come up in the appropriate color depending upon which category it falls into. I can decide how I want to grade this particular category of assignments, and all of the assignments that I put in that category would be graded in the same way. And the score types are points, percentage, or a letter grade. So I can choose which way I want to grade the assignments that will be in this category. And remember that PowerTeacher is set up so that it will do the conversion for you. You can have a variety. You can have some categories that might be graded on points. You can have another category that might be graded on percentage. You can have one that's graded on the letter. So let's do a letter grade. And I can choose to include it in the final grade or to leave that particular category out of the letter grade. I can put a description down here. This is work done at home by the student. And then I'm going to close it. Notice how now this category has changed from homework to independent work. Now if I want to add a category, I go back up to the tools, categories, and then I hit the plus sign. And I can choose to name my category whatever I want to call it. Let's call it group work. Okay, and then I can make it GW. I can choose a different color here. Let's see, I'll choose olive or green because that's not in my other categories down here. So let's say green. And this one, let's make it a points possible. Okay, and let's say if I'm giving points every week, maybe I give 10 points a week so I can leave it at 10 points. I want to include it in the final grade, and I can put down this is work done in class with lead 21 independent groups. And I can put just about anything in that description, and I'm the only one that's going to see it. So now I'm going to close it, and notice how now group work showed up under my different categories. Now going back to my category weights, where I want to have maybe group work count for less than in-class work or independent work. So now, right, the default is no categories in here. Now I have to add categories, so I'm going to click on add a category, and it brings up my different categories. I can choose which ones I want to include in my final grade. So let's do group work, project, quiz, and a test. And I'm going to say okay. Now they appear in my category weights window. Now the next step is to give each one of these categories a weight. So I'm going to double click on the weight, and just remember that your weights have to add up to 100%. So I'm going to make each one of these, well, group work, let's make that 15. The project's going to be 25. The quizzes will be 10. And the tests will be 25. Now they add up to 100. And I should be good to go. PowerTeacher automatically figures out what percent of the total grade. I can also choose to drop the lowest scores in a category. Let's say with regards to quizzes, I tell the students, okay, I'll drop your lowest score from the final grade. So I just click on drop low under quiz and enter the appropriate number. And now I'm going to say save. And now this student's grade for quarter one, all of the students whose grades I put in, each category, the group of assignments in that category will be weighted differently. So that in this case, projects and tests count for more than group work and quizzes. And then I just return to my score sheet, and I can put my individual assignments in there, which I will show you in the next video. That's setting up your weighted categories in PowerTeacher Gradebook.